Good afternoon, everyone. My internet was struggling there for a second, so I'm glad to see that we should be live right now. We're happy to have you join us for today's edition of Friday Fellowship Live. If you're new around here today, my name is April Hardwick, and I'm joining you today from Northern Ontario, where my husband and I serve the Faith Mission. I actually broadcast from a church here that has bought a school building, and it is chilly here today. And so as I've sat here waiting for the broadcast to start, the boilers have kicked on and kicked off. So if you hear a very loud banging noise, rest assured, nothing is falling down around me. It's just the sound of a very old school building boilers kicking in. But we'd love to know where you're joining us from today. We know that people are watching these broadcasts right around the world, and we love that. We love to see your comments and to know that you are being blessed by these broadcasts too. So feel free to comment and let us know where you're from and who you are. You can do that if you're watching on Facebook in the comment box, or if you're watching on YouTube as well. I'm not as familiar with YouTube, but I know there are ways to comment on there, although I don't necessarily see your comments right away from YouTube, but I will from Facebook. So today I'm going to be having a conversation with Dawna Weber. Dawna is our newest faith mission worker, and she has taken on the very important job of administration for the mission and is working out of the camp center in Milton, Ontario. I'm really excited to have a conversation with her so that you can get to know her a little better and hear her story. Like all of you, life is looking very different for the mission right now. If it was normal times, you would have already had the opportunity to meet Dawna if you were in the area at Friday Fellowship. This is Friday Fellowship, where you'll have the opportunity to meet her, but you would have met her maybe at Christmas in the Country or at another mission event as she started before Christmas with us. But this isn't normal times, and things look different. It's been hard. Normally we'd have staff meetings in January where staff would all come together and meet in Milton as well. And like so many other things, that has had to move to online this year as well. And we know that a lot of you are struggling with the same thing. And maybe you'd like someone to chat with or pray with. If you're brand new to the work of the mission, you can find more about us at faithmissioncanada.org. And on there, you'll find links to access the staff in your area. We'd love to come alongside you and pray with you and chat with you. We love to do that. So please reach out. If you're feeling isolated where you are, know that there's other people feeling the same thing, and we are available to pray with you. At the same time, if you're in your own area, are there people that you could be reaching out to this week? People that live alone? Pick up the phone and give people a call this week. I'd love to encourage you to do that. Remember, fellowship is going to look different right now. We aren't used to this, but it can still happen. And another way that we as a mission like to facilitate that is through Friday Fellowship Live. And how you can fellowship through this is to share it with your friends. If you're on Facebook, that's really easy. You just hit that share button. If you're on YouTube, you could copy and paste it into an email that you could send to your friends. It's a great way to remind people that God is still working. Even in the midst of lockdowns, we still see his hand. And he's still interacting in people's lives in really personal ways. So we'd love to have you share this. As I said, we're going to be talking with Dawna this afternoon, and we're going to be hearing about how God called her into the work of the mission. So I think we can bring her on now, and I will not tell any more of her story, but I will let her. Hi, Dawna. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So why don't you start by sharing a little bit about who you are and how you came to know about the mission and your history with the mission? I know you've had a long history, so tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So yes, as mentioned, my name is Dawna Weber, and how I first came to learn about the mission was when I was around 10 years old. I go to a church that is in Mount Forest, and we had a family, Glenn and Robin Dean, that came, and they were missionaries in the community, but they first came to the church through that, through doing children's programs in the area and stuff like that. And Nathan and Kevin were close to my age, and we had a farm growing up, and so the boys would come out and hang out on the farm. So that's how we got introduced to their family, and through that, the Faith Mission. So we heard from them different events, and so we would go along and go to like snow camp, kids camps, different things like that. And as we grew up, I became more involved in the mission. I would help at snow camps, being a camp counselor. Once I was the camp nurse by default. That was an interesting story.
Welcome to the mission. Yeah.
It wasn't what I thought I was doing when I got there, but it worked out. The Lord protected everybody, and nobody got seriously injured, so it was all
Excellent.
good. Yeah. And we'd always come, my mom and sister and I would come to ladies' retreats and things like that. And actually, you may have seen me and my sister, Doris, in the past. We've actually done special music for Thirsting for God conferences and for Christmas in the Country. So you may have seen my face around, and also my father is on the board as well. So I had known about the faith mission and then sort of got involved in work and some other things and was kind of not as involved anymore. And then my dad got on the board and I was kind of like, oh yeah, I love the faith mission. I love going there. And I always feel like so refreshed and so revived just coming away from, especially the ladies conferences. I was just like, this is just such an amazing getaway to come and just spend time with the Lord and to just have a day where you just get to be in his presence and leave. So I always felt like when I came to the mission, I was always just felt so spirit fed and was just like, the Lord is truly working in this ministry. And I said to myself, I was like, if I ever join any ministry, which I do not feel called to be a missionary, I was like, I would join the faith mission. So,
yeah. Well, and it's funny you say that because the first time I met you, I think it was the first time I remember meeting you, you were working at a credit union. And so tell us a little bit about how, you go from credit union to missionary and how God used that to get you ready for what you're doing with the mission today.
Sure. Yeah. So growing up, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always loved being with money, and I really enjoyed I would play cash register like all the time growing up. I just had a toy cash register and I just loved it. So I went to Bible school for a year in Saskatchewan. And when I came back, my mom was like, hey, there's a credit union coming to town. You should check it out. It sounds like something you'd really be interested in. So I was like, oh, okay. So I applied and got a job right away. So it wasn't really that it was anything I ever aspired to do. It just sort of happened. And working for the company, they were a faith-based company. And so I could share about the Lord with people. In fact, it was part of our membership opening process that we shared, like how we're a Christian credit union, what our faith was and everything like that. So in a way, it felt like I was doing missions and work together. And so I was really, really enjoying that. And they also gave me different opportunities to just gain different roles and to just different administration things. Like I started as a teller and didn't aspire to be anything more than that, but worked as a manager in member service and then did administration in the lending department and really just got a lot of office knowledge. But through that, I was just kind of the credit union changed and it rebranded and sort of lost a lot of its faith points. And I was kind of like, you know what, this isn't how I'm feeling like the Lord wants me to share anymore. Like I was like, it's not easy to have those conversations anymore. It's not really a part of the process. And I just feel like the Lord is moving my heart to something different. And I really didn't know what that was. But at that time, I had really prayed and I was like, Lord, I would really like to just go on a short-term mission opportunity and just see if that's something I should pursue. And so it was really neat how the Lord worked it. I was just sitting in church one day and this friend literally came over to me and said, hey, I'm planning a missions journey to Haiti. And I feel like the Lord told me I should ask you. She's like, you're probably not interested because you don't seem like the kind of person that would go to Haiti, but I thought I'd ask. And I was like, this is exactly what I've been praying for. And I was like, I'm really excited for this opportunity. So I went to Haiti. And as I was there, the Lord had just so softened my heart to just see the devastation that was around there. And I just was like, my heart was just breaking for that country and just the darkness that was there. And I came home and I was just like forever changed. I was like, Lord, like these are people that you love. And I'm just like, I just want to share the gospel. And I was like, I just want to share your truth with other people. And so the Lord was just working something in my heart, but I didn't have any clear direction to go anywhere. So I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So I just continued to pray about it and continued working at the credit union. And through that, I ended up feeling the Lord's leading to be personally discipled at Ellerslie Mission Society in Colorado. So I went and did that, and the Lord was just further working on my heart and just really like being like, Dawna, are you truly seeking me? Like, are you following after me, or are you still following after the desires that you have to just have a career and to just have, I mean, we're Canadian, but the American dream,
right? Yeah,
like the goals. Like I worked in the financial
dream, I think. Yeah.
Like I worked in the financial industry, so all I ever heard all the time was like, by this age you need to have this, by this age you need to have this, you need to have this, and I was like, but it's not satisfying. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's anything towards eternity. And so it was at that time actually that God really placed a verse on my heart. And I know that it's familiar to many people, but it was the verse in John 12 that says, most assuredly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. And it just had really hit me at that time that I was like, you know what? I am saved, but I'm living my life for me, and I'm living it for my desires and what I think my goals should be. And so at that time, I came home and worked at the credit union again. But the credit union was super good, and they gave me leave of absences to go back to Ellerslie, which was really gracious of them, like so good. And during that time, I was still gaining knowledge for work on the side. So it was like the Lord was working these things out, and I was like, okay, so what does this mean? And when I had the opportunity to go back to Ellerslie for a year of serving with that ministry, I just really felt like the Lord was saying, okay, now is the time for you to quit your secure job, and I'm going to take care of you from here on out. And I was just like, okay, wow, like that's a huge step.
It is a big step. Yeah.
I was like, I've had this job for 8 years. It's very secure. I'm very and so it was a huge leap of faith, but I really truly felt like the Lord just said, you know what? I just want you to follow me, serve me, and I am going to provide for you. And so off I went to join Ellerslie for a year and serve there. And I just have so many stories of countless times the Lord just provided in so many ways. And just such testimony of who he is and how he is so incredibly faithful. And so during that time when I was away, I was in conversation with Tim about the Canadian mission, because I knew that long term I couldn't stay in the US forever, that I had a desire to serve the Lord, but I was like, I can't do that in the US forever. So what do I do? And I was like, well, I always said that I would join the faith mission, so I should check out that process. So so I started talking to him, and he mentioned to me about the administration job, and I was like, wow, this is so perfect. Like all of my past 8 years of financial experience and administration office work just like perfectly feeds into this. And so it just really seemed very clear that the Lord was leading in that direction. And the year beforehand at Ellerslie just really put my heart in the right place, just for a servant's attitude. And just the Lord had to show me his faithfulness through provision for my heart in order for me to know that he will take care of me through any circumstance. And so, that was really how he provided and just prepared me and all of that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you not knowing, I mean, us as mission workers, when we come in, typically we don't have the financial background that you have. So I have to say, like, not knowing how as workers, we've been longing to have someone in an administrative position who understands how all of this works when we really don't. So it's just really amazing for us to, and such a faith boost too, for us to see how God provided the perfect person, that's been really amazing. So, because that was my husband and Mr. Bennett can testify that was a struggle for me. It was a steep learning curve. I'm comfortable now, but we're 9 years in now. So that was hard. So it's so neat to see how God just orchestrates all these little details and brought you along beside us to serve in this way. So we're very excited to have you as well. For a number of reasons. You have a long history with the mission. You've known us since you were 10. Your dad's on the board. You know lots of things. But was there anything that surprised you as you joined the mission and actually started working with us? Is there anything that has been a surprise?
Well, yes, but mostly it has to do with because of COVID, really, because every time I came to the mission, there was always lots of people bustling around and lots of workers all over the place. And so coming into the ministry, I just was like, oh, this is so fun to work from the center. There's always people here. There's like events going on and all sorts of things. And so this year has been a huge adjustment just in retraining my thought that things are a lot more Zoom related.
Yeah.
And not even being able to meet all of you workers in person has been something that has been hard for me, because I am one of those people who really likes to meet people face to face, because I like to just gauge like people's facial features, and just because, you know, one thing to talk to people over the phone, you really have no idea. You're just going by their voice. And I am a person that likes to be like, I like to gauge how a person is responding to me and body language and all of that kind of stuff. Absolutely. So, so that has definitely been one thing that was unexpected for me, was just kind of like, okay, this is very different.
Yeah.
And what is ministry going to be like now, just going forwards. And so yeah, just kind of looking at things and just being like, okay, I need to have more of like a vision for social media things and just different ways that you can reach people remotely, because it looks like for the next foreseeable future anyways, that's the way things are going to be. So so that's definitely been different.
Yeah, absolutely. I did. You know what? I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Having known the mission and knowing the camp center, to what, you know, pre-COVID to what it looks like now, it's a very different picture of what the expectation would have been, for sure. Like it's, you know, I mean, we were able to meet really briefly for that one ladies retreat, but I think, as I'm trying to think back, maybe I don't want to misspeak, but I think that's really well, day camps, but you know, that's all we've really been able to do at the center, which is so unusual. You know, you're right. Yeah. Sort of a hub of activity, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to meet people over Zoom, but of course it's not quite the same thing. No. Like, you know what a person looks like, but that's still not quite the same. So
yeah. And it's hard to have that conversation because you're conscious of interrupting each other, and you know,
you can't, and internet delays and whatever is going on. So
So that's definitely a challenge. So we'll look forward to. I mean, I've met you before, but I'm sure everyone else looks forward to meeting you in real life.
Yes.
So, for sure. So as you're going forward and you're, you know, getting to know the job and you're getting to know the mission a little bit more, and again, looking very different. You know, we're all on this learning curve of learning new technologies and new ways of reaching people, but things like that. Do you have ways that we could be praying for you, that our supporters could be praying for you, that just some tangible ways that we could be lifting you up before the Lord?
Sure. It's different working at the credit union, obviously, and having kind of like a pattern and training that goes along with like everything that you learn, to going into an office situation where I'm kind of trying to figure out how all of this works. Like there's not like, you don't like sit down and have like training videos or anything that tell you necessarily. It's a lot of kind of like figuring it out and having Tim like show me how to do stuff and that kind of thing. So I think just prayer in general, that as I continue to learn the different office duties, just that I don't miss anything and that I do things properly. I like to do things, I like to be very organized. And so I think I just need to establish some, I don't even know how to explain it necessarily, but to establish some good things going forward. It's like good schedules for things and just calendar things out well, so that I feel like I'm not missing something. And I'm still just like gaining a lot of knowledge for what needs to all be done on like a monthly basis, on like a weekly basis, and things like that. So kind of just like developing different ways of how I need to structure everything would be helpful. And also, even though I do work from the office, I really would like to also be more engaged in Christian community things as well. I really have a passion for young girls, youth group age girls, and just kind of mentoring and Bible study type things. So I really wanted to start a Bible study when I came home and just meet with girls and just have prayer with them and things like that. But I was kind of like, well, I'll wait until we can meet physically, but it looks like that might be quite some time. So I'm just praying about maybe doing that over Zoom and trying to figure out like what age group of girls I would like to invite, like what topics would I do, how would we structure that time together and that kind of thing. So just prayer for that as well, that just as the Lord has placed that burden on my heart, that he will make it more clear of what specifically I would like to do, or what he thinks I should do going forwards, and how to reach these girls. Because I just feel like there isn't much for young girls. Like youth group has been canceled and things like that. And so I'm just like, but girls still like Christian community and girls love to chat. So I'm like, it's just good to have it's just good to get on somewhere where you can even just talk about what the Lord is doing in your life and just be encouraged by that and just pray for each other. So even if it's something as simple as that, I would love to do that. And so, just kind of looking at reaching out to different people and just figuring out what that would look like. So prayer for that would be amazing.
Perfect. Yeah. As you were talking, I realized too, so not only, and I guess some people don't realize this because the center hasn't been the hub of activity that it's been, not only did you come into the mission during this completely strange time of COVID, you've come into the mission when your office is a completely strange.
Yes.
We're doing the opposite at the mission. So as someone who can appreciate really liking organization, I can imagine that's been a challenge too. Walking into sort of a finished, half created office space is a little bit of a challenge as well. So it'll be good to be able to show people when we're finished what if you don't know, the mission has been revamping what we call the cottage to make it a more functioning office space as well as an accommodation space. So Dawna will have a separate office from Tim and that will work, but it's been a slower process. So
it's looking great though. It looks beautiful, and it looks so good. The last time I was in there, I was like, oh, it looks so good compared to what it looked like before Christmas when we left for our Christmas break, because everything, like there was drywall dust and everything just like and I'm just like, okay, I'm closing the door and walking away. I'll come back when this is all done. So then when I came back after Christmas, I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is very so
good. That's good.
But it's kind of funny even just with that too, because Tim will be like, so do you want to keep this? Like, do you think you want to move this into your office? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know if this is something we use or if we don't use, how old this is. I don't know. So that's been kind of hard too, because I'm just like, I don't know what's important and what's not important just from like moving offices and going through things. And so there still is some things like that need to be gone through. And I'm just like, I need wisdom and knowing, like pretty much I need him to say, okay, we use this or we don't use this kind of. So
right. Well, it sounds like you're up to the challenge though.
Yes, I do like to organize, so I am very excited.
Well, you're going to have some great opportunities to do that.
Yes.
Good. I'm so glad. Well, we are so excited to have you on staff, and we are very excited for the day that everyone can get to know you in person. But thank you so much for joining me today. I know that this is a little chunk out of your day as well, so I will let you get back to your work, and I thank you. So, well, I'll chat with you later.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dawna.
Bye.
Bye. And thank you all for taking the time out of your day to join us as well and to get to know Dawna a little bit better. As I said, we are really looking forward to the day where the center can again be that hub of activity that we're used to. And I know you're looking forward to that day as well. So let's continue to pray that the Lord would find ways that we can be together, and that this will end. It will end. At some point, it will end. So that's all for today. I hope you will join me again next week. I'm actually on again for the next 2 weeks. And next week, I will be joined by Sharon Atchison. Some of you may be already familiar with Sharon. She's spoken at ladies' retreats for the mission, and we've had her husband, Paul, come and speak at Thirsting for God. conferences in Milton as well. They are in Ireland, and so she will be joining me from there virtually, obviously. They are always, Sharon and Paul are such an encouragement to us as staff, and I know an encouragement to anyone who has heard them speak in Canada as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I will see you next Friday, same time, same place for me, probably same place for you too. But we will be joined by Sharon from Ireland. So it's a little bit like we're traveling next week. So have a great week, everyone, and God bless. We'll see you then.